Okay, I believe we are live. Please give me a moment. I'll make sure everything is working fine and we'll get started. That looks good. Everything seems to be in order. Okay, brilliant. So 5 o'clock in the UK. Today is the 1st of September. My name is Uzair and thanks for joining in. Today we've got a special guest. In fact, I'm not going to be presenting today's session, but I will be hanging around if you have any questions afterwards. So it will be my wife, Farzana. She will be talking about our story so far. How we started, when we started, what we were doing when we started, and how our business has evolved to date. So if you have any questions, as you know, put them in the comment box on the right hand side. We'll come back to them at the end, or if you've got any specific questions for me, I will be around as well to answer them for you. So without further ado, let's bring in Farzana. I'll reset the table to her height and we'll get started.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we good.
Perfect. Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. It's lovely to be here. I think most of you for many days and weeks now have been following Uzair, which is thank you for all your loyal support over these recent weeks. But we thought we'd start mixing it up a little bit, and today I'm here, as Uzair said, to talk about our story. So we started our business, well, I'm going to start with me first of all. So I'm Farzana. I love spiritual world, crystals, Reiki healing, reading, although I don't seem to have much time for that nowadays, restaurants, meeting people, and probably most importantly, helping people, whether that's in a business sense or whether it's in personal life. I'm normally there to offer support and help and practical advice. Probably linked to that is the fact that I am the deputy mayor of our lovely town. Again, it's about, for me, serving my community, serving people, and making opinions and voices heard. And this is the best way of doing it, rather than ranting on social media. So I do take that role very seriously. I'm getting older as well, and I love going to National Trust properties and just generally hanging out, taking in the gardens. Obviously, we can't go into the homes at the moment, but I love looking at all of that history and imagining the people that must have lived there. So I love all of that too. Uzair is very easy. This is Uzair. Basically, cricket crazy. So other than that, I mean, what else can I say? If you want to get round him and want to put him in a good mood, talk about cricket. If his team, Pakistan, have lost, please don't mention it. Leave him at least for about 3 days. And when we first got together and first married, I couldn't understand why he'd get into these funny moods. And then I'd realise something awful had happened at cricket. So that would be the reason why he's suddenly gone into a funny mood. So the pictures that are on the screen at the moment where we're standing with the World Cup trophy, that happened to be sort of my birthday weekend last year. And he dressed it up as us going away for the weekend for my birthday. But oddly enough, we spent the whole weekend watching cricket. So I'm not sure who the treat was for, but hey ho, it was fun. Our story, our business story, we basically started the business in 2002, and it was supposed to be a part-time photography business around our then 2 very little children, the elder 2. Farhan was 2.5, and our little daughter, she was only just barely 2 months old when, almost on a whim, I started a photography business. It was supposed to fit around 2 young children, and I used to work 120 hours plus in the world of print in central London, and there was no way with children that I could go back to that. So it was time to think up something, and without photography being my hobby or passion, I had an interest because I used to look after jobs and images for big brands that are very well known, Unilever in the UK, Tesco, Sainsbury's, etc. I was never the photographer, but off I went and bought a camera. And in my naivety of looking for work here I am, I'm a photographer, I have a camera, willing to work. My very first client was what's now Build-A-Bear Factory, but way back then in 2002 they were known as the Bear Factory, and I had queues wrapping around the local shopping centre where we lived of people so eager to get their hands on a picture of their little darling, with on-site printing. It was the beginning of that kind of technology. And what I didn't know was that the centre managers were actually watching me from the floor above and seeing this production line of photos being taken and photos being printed. And we were asked to be the photographers for the grotto the following year, which was quite a big thing, actually, because in the grotto world, which is a very tied up world, it's very, very unusual, if not very rare, for a photographer to manage the whole of the grotto experience. Normally grotto event people handle all of that, so there were a few noses put out of joint when we won that contract. It was hard work, 7 days a week for about 5 weeks, and long days, and it was a lot of smiling at other people's children. We then, obviously, having set up as a photographer, we needed to find work. So again, we were very enthusiastic, and we sort of fell into the world of event photography. In particular, dinner dances, which we would do on Friday nights, Saturday nights, sometimes Sunday days if it was a holiday weekend, and equestrian photography. So we'd be working all day, mainly Saturdays and Sundays. So we would work round the clock from Friday afternoon onwards, sort out the children, drop them to grandparents, whatever needed. We needed to do that to make this business a success. And as the years progressed, our event team of photographers quickly grew to about 8 photographers, sometimes 10 photographers. We would be out every weekend just doing the jobs and then uploading online. When we first started out, using the same Build-A-Bear technology, we would print photos on site. But of course, there could only be one kit, one laptop operator, etc. So we soon grew onto an online. And I'd like to think, if I was to dig around, we were probably the pioneers of photographers printing pictures on site. Until then, people used to wait for 3 weeks for the horse photographer to get them their proofs, and then they would order. So we were told it would never catch on, and here we are. So, and we were probably also the pioneers of putting galleries online for people to buy their pictures after the event on our website. Through our work of what we were doing with photography and how we were using the technology, we then got spotted by Nikon. And I remember when we got this email from Nikon, and my husband said, I had a very weird email. They're saying they're from Nikon. I think it's some kind of hoax scam thing going on. But don't be silly. Follow it up, respond, reply, and see what it's all about. And our Nikon journey then began. And Uzair was an evangelist for Nikon for about 7 years, worked abroad with Nikon, stood on their trade shows, and we helped many, many photographers training, not necessarily about taking better pictures, but their marketing and how to build their business and how to make that organized and actually grow for them. And we've always shared our knowledge very freely, because I'm a great believer there's enough in this world for all of us, and sharing our knowledge doesn't make us any lesser of a person. In fact, you make great friends along the way, and people that have a lot of time for you. Just a few images here of Uzair presenting on stage and working at various events, big events, as you can see, Apple Store, NEC Birmingham, Focus on Imaging, and some workshops, etc. And of course, for Uzair to be flitting around in those days, this is probably 2007, 2008, 2009 kind of time, there was me carrying on in the background, holding all those pieces together. By 2007, we were doing about 300 horse shows a year, plus we were doing 50 odd weddings a year. I remember one particular weekend in 2007, between the two of us on the bank holiday weekend, we did 7 weddings. So I'll let you do the maths, I actually managed to do 2 weddings the same day. One was a morning wedding, finished, and then I was able to, in a 1 hour gap, get to the next wedding, and that is going some. That's a lot of family names to remember, schedules to remember, attention to detail, because every client needs to feel, and is made to feel, really 100% important, nothing else matters, because that's how their day goes for them. So we would spend a lot of time scheduling and organizing detail and just getting ourselves in the right place for every single client of ours. Now, part of that organization, and in particular me coming from an account management background, as I said, from the print industry days, we developed some software called PhotoSF, which was basically a contact management system, CRM, for particularly in photographers. And actually we did I'd like to think a good job. Very proud that we were actually in the Apple Store UK selling our software. And again, that software has helped so many businesses just being organized and following systems. Here are some images, obviously, of Uzair receiving the award. The presentation should have been in San Francisco. We couldn't actually go because we were stacked out with wedding jobs, etc. So we had to have a UK presentation. Yeah, so we won some award there. And the next one is another award that Uzair won, which was he was the Environmental Portrait Photographer of the Year at Europe's largest photographic convention, which again, very proud of that amongst all the photographers, his images won. And in fact, it's not shot here, but in fact his image, the winning shot, was actually on the cover of this magazine for the whole convention. So thousands of copies went out there. And then we rolled on to 2009, 2010. The recession hit us in the UK. And the previous year, we used to be on the supplier list at a local well-known venue. And a wedding show that I would do, which would gain us probably 10, 12 wedding bookings by the Monday morning, let alone the ones that then followed on through the year. Same show, same weekend, same wedding samples. I had 0 bookings on the Monday from the same show. And I said to Uzair, something is going on, something's not working, and we need to watch this because things are not quite right. And sure enough, within 6 months, we had hit the recession. So clearly, traditional marketing, as we were used to having, wedding magazines, wedding fairs, were not working for us as a business. And so we were already thinking, right, we need to do something different because the old way isn't working. And that's when we probably first started to look at Google Ads and really also started to think about how to get our website really 100%. So we were already working on websites and marketing, although it was for our photography business. And just as we were thinking, right, we need to come out of 2009, 2010, working away, that year we also had our son off school for 15 months. So obviously in our personal lives, there was something going on as well. He was only 10 years old and missed a hell of a lot of school. So he had to be factored in, his needs and caring for him. I find myself expecting. So after a 10-year gap, I call her my joyous bonus baby. She will always be our bonus baby. Safia came along. And at the time, I remember people asking me, any names, and do you mind if it's a boy or a girl, and all of this kind of thing. And I'd often joke with them that obviously SF was actually our initials of our older 2 children. So clearly we can't leave her out from the business. I'm thinking of calling her Digital. And a number of people would actually think we were serious, but clearly we didn't call her Digital. And so, of course, we had to readjust as a business. So that obviously I didn't actually stop working. I worked right through to the end and then had her. And of course, me being me, couldn't just sit still and enjoy having a newborn baby. Within 2 months of her arriving, we started the portrait studio of SF Digital. So it seems to me that every time I have a daughter, within 2 months, I have to do something drastic. So definitely no more babies and definitely no girls, because God only knows what I'd think up next. So we readjusted, had a new studio, had a young baby, 2 older children, and we were working away. Increasingly, I was looking after B2C. So I was looking after the portrait studio stuff and driving traffic and business and making that grow. And Uzair was increasingly looking at B2B, looking at more of the website builds, marketing in general, and playing around with Google. And I say playing around because it was very loose in those days. Unfortunately or fortunately, every cloud has a silver lining. 2013-14 was Uzair's turn to take a little turn and needed to be off work. And he was probably off in total for about a good 15, 16 months. But his sanity check in that time of keeping himself busy was to actually do the Google partner exams and certifications properly and actually study them. And I remember he would, I would be running the studio. I again re-evolved the business, pared down what I couldn't handle, being suddenly losing 50% of our workforce, and then decided, right, where do I focus? So I would focus on the studio and I would watch my numbers. It was almost an addiction. Every day I would check my numbers. How many bookings have I had? What were the sales from each booking? And then I would tot up at the end of the week, because it would have been very easy to lose Uzair out of the business and think the big picture of, oh my goodness, there's no way I can make this happen. And it would just implode. And I couldn't allow that to happen. That was our livelihood, our business, our whole support. There's no second income. There's no plan B. This is it. This is our life. So I pared down and I would focus on the business, and I'd come home to find Uzair doing more exams and really getting to know that system of how to run a Google campaign. So by the time Uzair returned properly to the business, we had then started to think about using digital marketing and offering that as a service now, as a proper service. And of course, being Google certified, obviously we were a partner and we were able to offer that as a service. So obviously, if you're going to do marketing, the first hurdle we normally hit is that until we can run a Google campaign for a business, it will always boil down to the website. And that's where I think we are quite different. We are not website designers that make it look good. We are not website coders that are worried about the tech. We are marketeers focused on using your website to drive you business. And that is a very, very big difference to the many, many people that are out there. Because at the end of the day, if your website is not going to convert, there is no use us setting up campaigns to make your business grow, because they're not going to convert. So obviously the website design was then beginning to happen, but a very good natural fit for us is that our photography and video experience is supplements what we are doing, because it's already our background. And of course, every website needs content. It needs images, and it of course needs videos. And I know many people are shy to use video as their medium and talking on camera, but it is really, really vital to humanize the cold face of a website, because how do you make yourself stand out amongst a very crowded marketplace of lots and lots of websites? And that is through your image and by being authentic and sincere in your message. And also the website side of things, this is where our print knowledge also comes in, because we are used to designing things on paper or packaging in my case. So all we are doing is we're eliminating the media, the paper side of things, and we are just putting it on a digital platform. So a lot of the rules and the background of what we see on a website actually come from the print background as well. 2018, yet again, SF Digital goes through an epiphany and a moment where we decide that two, three key things actually. First of all, Uzair decides that he needed to renew his networking membership, a particular group. That, I really don't enjoy going, and it's not really my bag, and I don't want to go. And I said, well, then don't go. If you want to have a nice lunch with nice people, go for a nice lunch with nice people. Don't call it networking. Go and do what you need to do. Don't go to the formal groups if that's not your bag. But of course, we have to replace it with something. So we decided we were probably going to concentrate with online marketing. At that same time, I decided that please do not book December 17, sorry. Please do not book any more portrait bookings for me for the studio. Bearing in mind, December is a busy time for photographers. And my husband, as I said, are you sure? I said, absolutely sure. Because while I am focusing on B2C, you're running B2B. My background is detail and account management. Uzair's great vision actually is that he is so mercurial in his thinking, and he can see the bigger picture. He can see almost the future of where things are going. And so we actually complement each other very, very well. We're very different individuals. We have different approaches, but each of our strengths works to the other one's advantage. So I'm the detail person, he's the bigger picture person, but it fits brilliantly. And also the other thing, as I decided, was it's all very well being internet marketeers and talking about video marketing. And like many businesses, you take the eye off the ball of your own business. Our own YouTube channel was pretty embarrassing. It was barely in double figures. I think we were on 20 or 30 subscribers, which is poor to say the least. Not that the work wasn't coming. We were just too busy to actually think about populating that and making that, have some decent content on there. So Uzair started regularly and consistently posting videos. At that time, he did a little 90-day challenge, 90 videos in 90 days. On about the 100th day, just after, we did hit our 1,000 subscribers. And thanks to that work that started 2 years ago, only 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago now, we can fast forward to the present, where we are now 12,000 plus subscribers. But all our work is inbound from the work that we do on YouTube. We do not go out networking looking for work. We don't advertise in any traditional platforms. Everything is from the digital world. But I'd like to think we're a digital marketing agency with a difference, one with a bit of a heart and a lot of common sense. So it's very easy to get pulled into what does digital marketing mean and follow the system, and you need to Google and all these things, all these buzzwords that many people hear, many business people hear. We try and strip away all of the buzzwords, all the geek speak, all the techie language. We break it down into what you need for your business, and then systemize that, put the stepping stones into place to achieve what you're trying to achieve for your business. And that's really important, to listen to what our clients want, because not everybody wants to take over the world, unlike me probably. So it's really important to understand what makes you tick and what's the driving force behind your business. And part of what we do is, especially the last few weeks, months since COVID, we have been fast tracking all our planning and systemization even further to what we were already doing. So there's a little screenshot here just showing you of a minute number of some of the tasks we do on some of our video work when we are posting. So everything has to be created. There are administrators involved, there's leaders involved, there's video editing, social media posting. There's a whole load of things, a whole sequence of events. And we at the moment have a team of 14, and we are still growing. There's no sign of that abating. Some people seem to think that might be, the rapid growth might be because of COVID. It isn't. I've just given you a snapshot of our last few years of how we started 18 years ago. And it's all these pieces beginning to come together. We're not done yet. The jigsaw is not complete. There are still pieces missing and changing, and we are still growing. But this is all because of systemizing. And the reason we need to systemize is that everything has to be you. So if you do enjoy these live streams and you find them useful, I really would appreciate it if you'd give us a little review on Google My Business. The link is on the screen right now. And as a thank you for anyone who wishes to take me up on it, I'm more than happy to hop on a one-to-one, answer any questions you may have, solve any problems, and just give you some ideas. Hopefully business related, but it's amazing with the kind of things I get involved in. So would love to hear from anyone. I'm just going to have a quick check and see if there have been any questions or comments. I have one here from Sandy Entertainments. I have one question. We know how Uzair will explain about Google Ads on screen. Can you explain how working experience off screen? What is first thing you observed in Google Ads? How working experience off screen. Sandy Entertainments, I'm not quite sure what you're asking me there. No, I'm not quite sure, and Uzair's not quite sure. So I'm going to move on, Sandy, but feel free to reach out to us on our info@sfdigital.co.uk. More than happy to talk to you, of course. And I think that's it. We've just got some nice comments on there. But yeah, we're probably on for another couple of minutes. So if anyone does have anything, please feel free. I'm going to hand over to Uzair so he can take over now and wrap up. There you go.
Okay, I'm back. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the session, and thanks for Farzana for a wonderful presentation. Oh, Sandeep is asking, working experience with Uzair.
Well, what can I say, Sandy? It's 31 years we've been together, so it's interesting, shall we say. As I said, we are very different personalities, and we get there. Basically, he just has to remember one rule, and that is that I am always right.
Yeah, and
that's it.
If you are working with your partner, wife, or a husband and wife team, what you need, well, especially for the men, all you need to learn is to say, yes, darling, and you'll be fine. If not, then learn from my experience. You won't last long.
That's right. He has lost quite a lot of hair over the years.
Yeah, and gone grey. Look at it. Yeah, I've been working hard. So I might decide, yeah, since she has done such a great job, I'm going to retire from these live streams and let her carry on, because she can talk. She can talk all day. Okay, let's go back to the questions. So thank you so much, Emily, Saifullah. There's far too many people to thank. I'm just gonna say on behalf of both of us, I hope you enjoyed and got some inspiration how we've evolved. And this is the thing, is every time we had a challenge or we face challenging times, don't give up. You have to evolve, pivot, do something which others aren't doing. And right now, as you can see in these lockdowns, we are reaching out to the world through our videos, and you too can be doing the same thing. The other thing which I also want to say is giving up too quickly. Business is not easy to run. If it was that easy, the whole world will be running businesses, and every person would be a businessman or a woman. So only a select few are capable of running it well and profitably. We're not saying we are the best or we know everything, but we do our best. We've got a roof over our table and got a good lifestyle, have great kids, and we're able to provide for them. And that's what you want to be doing, is to be able to provide for your family, look after them, and enjoy, because that is the key thing. If I get bored with something, no matter what anyone pays, I won't do it. I absolutely will not do it, and I need to enjoy. And Farzana is absolutely right that you got to enjoy your work. I'm just gonna go to the comments. There was one question about smart shopping from Seth. Seth, you need to use this smart shopping very carefully, because it can eat up your budget, and Google can go on a tangent, and without you with a blink of an eye, the budget can be spent. So be very careful. I have gone through smart bidding, and there's a video a few days ago I did, man versus machine. Watch that one, because that will explain how we are getting results. So Sandeep, you're asking, mentioned about the software. It was a bespoke software we did for our photography business. We couldn't find anything off the shelf, so we created one. So when you have a problem, and if you can't find the solution, then you create that solution. And we sold that software to literally thousands of photographers all over the world, because as you guys have seen, that we are very big on systems and processes. If you don't have that in place, you will never be able to scale, and scale well. That's what you need to do, is to set up your little system, start finding the right talent. We've got a great team now. Really enjoy working with all of them, and we're looking to grow and even scale our team to do bigger and better things. So I think that's enough for today. We've covered pretty much all the comments. So thank you guys. We really do appreciate your time, absolutely, and also the support you guys give every day. Spend your precious time with us, and we shall start again tomorrow with back to Google Ads and digital marketing. And I think what Farzana is very good at is the behind the scenes stuff, which people don't see. She keeps runs a very tight ship, I should say, with all the team, and make sure that jobs are done at the right time and things go to plan. So we might, not might, but we probably will be having Farzana once a week, so that you guys can also talk about business and non-Google Ads questions and problems you may have, which I'm sure she will be able to help you with, and take your business to the next level. So till then, that's all done. So thank you so much, guys, for being with us today, and we shall see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Till then, stay safe and goodbye.